In a world where the paranormal meets the preposterous, where ghostly whispers echo through the abandoned arcades, and every creaky floorboard might just be a clue, two bravish souls dare to investigate the mysteries no one else will touch.
The Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. They don't always get it right, but they always get it weird.
Hey there, mystery lovers and mischief makers. I'm Steve.
And I'm Dan, together with the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, your guides through the weird, the wild, and the wonderfully unexplained.
Each week, we dive headfirst into bizarre tales, haunted happenings, and conspiracy theories so strange they'll make your nan's ghost stories sound like bedtime lullabies.
We're talking cursed vacuum cleaners, psychic pigeons, haunted theme parks, and maybe, just maybe, a few real clues along the way.
So grab your flashlights, your EMF detectors, and maybe a snack, because things are about to get weird.
This is the Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators, where the only thing scarier than the truth is how much fun we're having finding it. Now, before you get into this episode, listeners, Steve's got a little bit of a message for you before you get further into this episode. Over to you, Steve.
Thanks, Dan. I just want to apologise from the darkest pit of my heart. I don't know if that's the right expression, but at the moment it is. I know that I meant Barbara Woodhouse, not Barbara Windsor. And I know the film is Hell Comes to Frogtown, not Hell Comes to Toadtown. I just want to make that clear before you hear me embarrassing myself.
Yes, especially considering you love movies. It was quite a little embarrassing one.
Yeah, I do have it on the shelf behind me. And, Rowdy Roddy Piper made some great films, and he didn't make anything with toads in. So I do apologise. Enjoy the episode. And now to Dan for the Toadmen. Actually, it rhymes, doesn't it? Toadman Dan. Toadman Dan. Do you know what? Not only do you sound like a Toadman, you look like a Toadman.
Ribbit.
There we go, ribbit.
Yeah, so the story that I want to show you today is actually from my home, the Fens. Now, I'm actually a proud Norfolk man, but I did grow up on the cusp of the Fens. That's why I've got webbed toes. That's why I'm a very good swimmer. And this one is actually a story of witchcraft today, because it's about the Fenland Toadmen. Now, the Toadmen.
I'm going to interrupt you there, because I need you to apologise to anybody else who comes from your part of the world. Because I know that some people can be very offended when you accuse them of having 6 fingers or webbed fingers and toes.
Yes, there is a story there, which I'm not going to share on the podcast, about upsetting somebody in my student days who I made a joke about that I was from Norfolk and had extra appendages. I will say I don't have extra appendages. It's just a common joke.
He does have 2 penises, though.
Yes. So, ladies, if you're interested, email in to Boo-Foons.
Boo-Foons only fans.
Yes.
Because honestly, nobody else wants to see it.
Yeah. Anyway, so the Fenland Toadmen. Now, the Toadmen were people. It all comes down to the farms, and the Toadmen specifically were the people on the farms that could control horses. And because they were very good at looking after horses, and I'll get to why they were called Toadmen in a minute, but they were just farmhands that were just really good at looking after horses, getting horses to do what they wanted, which then had this whole myth whipped up around how did these farmhands control these horses so well. Thus, the Toadman witchcraft was born. And some stories that you read, it's all very much about them talking to witches and getting witches to cast a spell for them. Some of them are about them speaking to the devil and getting very close to the devil and making deals about controlling animals. And a lot of them seem to have this common theme of the Toadmen themselves making a bit of a spell. and doing some witchcraft. So what they would do, and this is why they were called Toadmen, they would get a toad, they would kill it, they would dry the toad out, then they had to bury it in an anthill until it was just bones. So either the ants had eaten the skin and flesh off, or whether they just decompose. You then got the bones, placed the bones in a river, so it's a full skeleton of a toad at this point. And then the rear legs would start moving and twitching and would start swimming upstream. They would then catch the toad skeleton, grind up the bone, mix it with oil, and then they would take that oil. There was oil and a dead toad skeleton that had been ground up into a powder. They would put it onto the horse, and then the horse was under the Toadman's spell. So, yeah, very strange there. So, we're taking a toad, they're killing it, putting it into an anthill of all places, waiting for it to become a skeleton, grinding it up, putting it in oil. Would that control you if you were a horse?
It's the most random thing I've ever heard. How did this ever become a thing? And is it still practiced to this day?
It's not practiced to this day. However, the Toadman spell is still a very well-known sort of myth around the fens of the Toadmen getting these toads, wait until they're a skeleton and put it in oil.
So, I mean, when I heard about this, I thought, when you talk, I was imagining some sort of superhero who could turn into a toad. Or some people like half human, half toads walking around the fens, with their huge tongues, whipping up whatever they're whipping up with their huge tongues. But it's just a bloke and men who killed frogs.
Yeah, kill a toad, bury it, wait until it's decomposed.
And take a horse for a walk.
Yep. And it's all because these people were just very good at controlling horses. But there was witchcraft.
There used to be a lady years ago on television called Barbara Windsor who was very good with dogs. What animal did she have to kill for that? Was it an amphibian or a bird or a...
I don't know. Well, if toads control horses...
What would be the best one for a dog?
I don't know. Well, if you've got any ideas, listeners, put it on our socials. Let us know.
Yeah, because I'm not going to answer that. When did that start? Any idea when that legend started and where it went to, and when did it stop?
Well, I believe it started, like all things, around 16th, 17th century, when all of these stories of witchcraft and everyone believing in it was a thing. I don't know when it was officially, when the recipe of making this potion, let's call it a potion, it sounds very witchy. I don't know when that was officially published. I don't know whether it was a case of, now, growing up in that area, what I can imagine happened is somebody went, we've heard about the Toadmen that are good with controlling horses. And I can totally imagine a proper bloke from the fens or from Norfolk or that area with a sarcastic tone going, well, I know how to do that spell. What you got to do, you got to go down to the river, you got to get yourself a toad, and then you got to put it in an anthill. And I can imagine they were just sitting there going, what is the most bonkers story I can come up with for this person's going to write it down? And then they go, and then when you got in the anthill, you need to make sure you got to leave it until it's all gone, it's down to a skeleton, and then put the skeleton in the river and it will start moving, it will. And then when it starts moving, start swimming, you got to catch it, and then that's when you grind it down, and then you got to put it in oil. And I can imagine them sitting there for hours talking about the different types of oil and that each oil has its own thing. And I can totally believe that some bloke from the fens sat there with somebody that wanted to know about this, and they were probably sitting there for a good hour listening to this absolute bonkers story before it got written down.
Right, I've just been looking this up, right? So this goes back to the 1st century.
Wow.
This is an old legend. 1st century we're talking about here. But again, I just don't... How? I mean, I'm good with computers, right?
Yes.
I mean, I can walk up to a computer and it starts working. That's how my career is, fixing computers just by being in the same room as one.
So which animal do you have to kill to look after
I
computers?
don't. Just a banana. I just eat a banana. I stick the peel in the bin.
Good source of potassium.
Yeah, and the computers work. So I could be the banana man. But, okay, but also, first century, we're talking the devil. And why, again, would this be? Why would killing and mutilating a toad, sacrificing it to the devil, make you really good with horses? Does that mean that horses are related to the devil?
Well, there's lots of stories about, and in East Anglia, which is something that will come through in the podcast when we start talking about more East Anglian things. You've got a lot of Norse mythology there. Because with Norfolk and Suffolk being where the Vikings would have first landed, there's a lot of local stories, local legends that are linked to Norse mythology. And when you go back far enough through the stories, you can eventually link it to something to do with Norse mythology. So it wouldn't surprise me if this horse and toad link has something to do with some sort of Norse or even Celtic or some sort of old myth. I'm sure there must be an old myth out there to do with these spells and to do with this potion, which is where it's originally come from. And over the years, it's changed, and as people have told the story and passed it down through generation to generation, it's changed.
I think it's quite fascinating. I mean, I'm looking up here, again, as we're talking about this, because this is one of the weirdest things I've ever heard, and I've heard some weird stuff. This website is great because it says the Fens are known for many things: flat landscapes, right-wing voters, and wet feet. Which I thought was quite funny.
And amazing people like
amazing
me.
People. Toadbone is said to have is to grant the owner the powers of immobilizing and control not only horses, but also pigs and cattle. In a county where most people live cheek by jowl with their livestock, like cheek by jowl, that's what you really want with your pigs, isn't it? So live cheek by jowl with them, or your sheep.
Yeah.
They relied on them for their very survival. Having a control over the natural world would be a longed for gift. But how desperate would you have to be how many animals would you have had to kill before you decided the horse likes me now?
Yeah.
The horse has been watching you slaughter all these animals. And it's like, next in the line is the horse. And the horse sees you kill the toad. He knows he's next. I'm your best friend. Don't have to kill me.
Well, it's like that, the old lady that swallowed a fly. Mm-hmm. I don't know why. And then the animals get bigger and bigger. Maybe the horse thought, definitely coming for me next.
But did you know that it didn't just end with livestock, apparently? If you were a toadman, you could also see in the dark and open locked doors with just a touch. So there was more skills to just controlling horses. Mystery.
Now, I have actually got a story about a toadman.
Oh, good.
And this goes back to the 1800s.
Okay.
And it's specifically a farm near Chatteris, which, for geography people out there, that's not far from March. No, March and Huntingdon that way.
Not March before April, May, June.
Yeah. Well, they can march there if they want. So on this farm, a farmer hired on this farm near Chatteris, the farmer had hired a farmhand named Elijah. And Elijah was a toadman. He was very good with horses and had probably done the whole thing with the toads and got the oil there. And he actually got very annoyed and frustrated about not being paid on time. And he apparently encouraged the horses to stop working using his toadman abilities, and apparently said to the horses, right, no, we're not going to work anymore. We're going to stop ploughing. Don't do it. So the farmer then got angry that Elijah was angry about not being paid. And instead of paying him and going, you know what, maybe I should pay him, instead he ripped off one of his nails out of one of his fingers whilst Elijah was asleep.
Damn.
A while after that, a joint of meat went missing from the kitchen. And the other farmhands on the farm saw the farmer's dog eating this joint of meat. Okay? So all of the farmhands have pretty much seen this dog eating the joint of meat that it's stolen. The farmer assumed that it was Elijah that had stolen the meat. So he then chopped his arm off and buried the arm on the farm.
This is straight from the Bible, yeah?
Yeah.
This is the... Okay, so...
And if you think that's where it ends,
gets weirder,
it gets weirder. So not only has he had a nail ripped off because he's basically said, look, I need my money. I need to be paid. I need to go to the pub. I need to buy some beer. And the farmer's ripped his nail out and then chopped his arm off and buried it on the farm. The farmer then became very wary of Elijah and Elijah's Toadman powers. And one of the barns caught fire one day. The farmer then blamed Elijah for the fire, so decided, I'm going to throw him into the flames. So Elijah then naturally burned in the flames and died. And the farmer believed that the reason why he threw Elijah on there is because he needed to burn him to send him back to the devil. Now, this is where this witchcraft story turns into a ghost story, because it said that Elijah couldn't actually enter the afterlife without his whole body, because his arm was buried on the farm, so he couldn't do it. And his ghost managed to find the arm. Still couldn't enter the afterlife because the ghost couldn't find the nail that had been ripped off. And his ghost is said to still roam all of that area of Chatteris in this farm to this day, looking for a lost fingernail.
He's not going to find it.
No.
He's never going to find it. I mean, no matter how hard he tries. Unless there's a ghost fingernail wandering around looking for a lost finger.
Yeah, and it can't find the finger because the ghost has already found the arm.
Damn, life can be crap, can't it? For a ghost who's just insane enough to care that much about a finger. Yeah. Right, okay, this whole thing is just, it just gets crazier. I just don't get it. I mean,
I love this story because we start off talking about witchcraft and an ancient Fenland mystery of Toadmen. And then the fact that I managed to find this story about Elijah.
Yeah.
It's just...
But the thing about these Toadmen are supposed to be like, is this still Toadmen? Are we
yeah, so Elijah was a Toadman.
Because Toadmen are supposed to be the ultimate Fenland wizards. They're supposed to be able to do whatever they want. It's not just horses. Yeah. They're wizards. They can do anything. How come he can't find his sodding fingernail?
Well, because
he can control the weather, he can open doors, he can see in the dark, he can make horses do what he wants. Can't find a bloody fingernail.
Yeah.
Get a horse to look for it.
I've seen fingernails laying on the floor. Yeah, yes, they tend to be made of plastic and they've fallen
bloody off. Fingernails. They've just been ripped off.
Yeah.
Oh, dear, that's awful. Fingernails being torn off. It's as bad as stepping on something like a piece of Lego. That's awful. Two things I wouldn't want to happen to me. Step on Lego and have a fingernail torn off.
Well, in that case, don't upset farmers, overpay.
Yeah.
And then you won't have your fingernail ripped off.
I just found out that my surname, which I'm not going to say, is a Norfolk surname.
Oh.
And it's about people who are very good with horses.
So you're a Toadman!
I potentially am an ancestor of Toadmen. That's what I'm thinking. From Horsey-on-Sea in Norfolk.
So yeah. You're a Toadman.
It basically means the clearing where, or pasture where horses were kept, people of the horses. So that's pretty much my surname. Norfolk is the area it comes from.
Yeah, because you're a Toadman.
So I believe in this one. This is a thumbs up from me without a thumbs up without a fingernail.
Yeah, without a fingernail.
Without a fingernail.
Without an arm.
No, it's crazy. But, okay, so any idea when this stopped? When did they stop raping and pillaging toads?
Well, for me, it was yesterday.
I mean, yeah, you asked your parents? When was the last time they knew anybody who did this to... I mean...
Well, I will say, growing up, and I've always been interested in mysteries and everything, this was one that I was never really that aware of.
Yeah. So it wasn't something that was still happening as far as you're concerned.
No, and...
There was no Wickham Man.
There are lots of mysteries and lots of folk stories that were told. And this is one that I wasn't really aware of until much recently. And I can tell you where I actually discovered this story to start with. I had visited... No.
Not TikTok.
For a change, it wasn't TikTok.
Ah, good.
This one was, I had visited a museum, and there was this... And it was on the wall. It was like a poster. And this poster had all this information. It was the recipe to control horses.
Okay.
And it was that exact recipe I've read out there for this oil made out of frog. And I went, that's a bit weird. So I then went away and researched it and found out that it's this huge legend of the Fenland Toadmen controlling horses. Now, I do know my grandfather worked on a farm since he was a young lad, till he, got older and started doing other
Oh, he's
careers.
still alive, yeah?
Yeah, he's still alive, that one.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's still alive. He actually left the farm when he was about 18 and started driving lorries.
Did they have lorries back then?
Yeah.
In Norfolk?
Yeah, in Norfolk. We had lorries.
I thought they just like, oh my God, magic.
We still have lorries.
What is this beast that I can't do a Norfolk accent, but what's this beast coming towards? It's a lorry.
It's, my parents may have only just discovered the flush toilet, but, they're getting there.
My parents do live in Norfolk as well, so I understand that. I have visited it, and yes, it is a strange parallel universe.
Yeah.
It really does feel like some place in Norfolk. I mean, being in Cornwall and Devon here, it still feels 1,000 years ahead of Norfolk.
Yeah, but it's weird because the accent down here sounds like a very slow Norfolk person.
Yeah, it's like somebody's got a head injury.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's the funny thing with accents? Being in Devon here, the young people I know who are born and brought up in Devon do not have any accent. They have watched so much TV and TikTok that they haven't got their accents anymore. The older generation do still have the accent. I mean, when we've been visiting various places around in Cornwall, very few people have had a Cornish accent. It's very neutral now. Almost the whole country's neutral. It's very sad because I miss those accents.
Yeah, well, you say that, and obviously I am from Norfolk. And
you would never guess from your accent.
Yeah, but
until you're taking the piss out of the accent.
Yeah, well, part of that...
You do the rest of the podcast in the accent.
Oh, you probably could.
Thank you.
I probably could, boy.
That's also... Sounds like you're from Devon or Cornwall.
Yeah, well, you see, this is what I used to talk. It's exactly how I used to say before I moved to Bedford. Yeah, pretty much. But I think the only reason I sound like this now, and I people have told me they can still hear the burrs in the R sound and certain times and what have you. But I think it's the fact that I've lived in Bedford for so long, which is close to London, and that accent has sort of watered down. And because of the career I do, I have to
speak properly.
Yeah, speak. I have to make sure I'm saying words as correctly as possible to help with spellings, and a lot of the things and hobbies that I have, the fact that I do radio, the fact that I do this, and I have just naturally had it watered down. It's a bit like YouTuber Stuart that we're both friends with.
Yeah.
Well, you're more friends with him than I am. I just happen to know him through you, really. But Stuart Ashens, he's from Norfolk, born and bred there.
Yeah, you can't tell.
And you wouldn't be able to tell on YouTube.
That's because he's educated like you.
Yeah. However, when you sort of speak to him, someone like I can pick, I think because I know what it sounds like, I can pick up certain words, certain phrases that he says that I immediately go, he's 100% from Norfolk.
Can I just say though, with the Bedford accent, it's very similar to the Essex accent. When you finally hear people speaking, like Bedfordshire accent, it is very much like when I lived in Essex. The accent there is very similar.
Well, I've actually come to learn that the original historic Bedfordshire accent actually sounded very similar to a Cambridgeshire Norfolk accent. And then it was the London influence
Diluted it.
that then very much diluted it to make it into that Essex accent, Essex. That's really hard to say. I'm trying to say Essex-esque,
This is, yeah.
but I can't put it all together.
Do you know what? The more I'm doing these podcasts, the more I realise I cannot form words.
Yeah. It just means that people know that we're real people and we're not AI
Yeah.
generated
If
by
I was
Gemini
this
AI.
stupid, I would be really worried. It definitely wouldn't be artificial intelligence. That would be real. I don't know. Artificial stupidity.
Yes. Generated by AI.
Yeah. Back to the bone. I'd also look in here about the Toadmen. Going back to, I know you didn't finish your story because I interrupted. But apparently, if the bones flowed upstream against the current, it's your magic.
Yes.
But if you didn't grab the bones, the devil himself would grab it because he would be lurking, watching and lurking, and then you would have to bargain your soul for it.
Yes.
So that's pretty serious.
It's pretty serious.
I mean, don't really have a soul these days. I'd give it a try. I think it's been sucked from me.
Yeah, let's try and find a toad and.
Oh, the toads. I like toads. They're cute.
Yeah, but then we can go and control all of the horses and have all of these powers.
I don't see many horses around. We saw one today, though, trotting up the road. The lady was very polite.
The lady was very
Yeah,
polite.
she smiled. Oh, you're locals. I can tell you're wearing a Hawaiian shirt again. And you've got a Ghostbuster shirt on. You're local, aren't you, in this house? It's a street with only 60-year-olds living there.
Yeah.
I think she was just funny. Yeah, I thought it was funny to see tourists.
Um,
Yeah, that is a very strange mystery.
It is. But the thing is, there's so much. And I'm looking forward to further episodes when we start talking more about witchcraft and things like that. Because when you start looking into a witchcraft and start looking into potions and things, we all have this image of, the whole Shakespearean babble, babble, toil and trouble.
Jesus, I got scared then.
Yeah.
It's you. I didn't realise it was you. I wasn't looking. Sorry. Yeah, Karen.
Yeah, that was me.
That was you. I'm very...
That was me quoting the opening lines of Macbeth. Oh no, I've said it. I've said the name of the play that we shouldn't say.
We're in my room.
Oh, thank goodness.
What's the worst thing can happen here? The shelf with DVDs can fall on your head. That's the worst thing can happen here.
I panicked for a second then.
That panic just scared the shit out of me. Wasn't expecting that panic.
And people have this image of it's all bubbling potions and mixing it in a massive cauldron and putting this ingredient and that ingredient in, and thinking about things like Harry Potter where they've got all these brightly coloured potions and things, and that's the image that people have. But when you actually look into the folklore side of witchcraft and the historical witchcraft, it was all just using whatever was available, and by some sheer chance, it did something.
Yeah. Well, it's very close to paganism, obviously, where you're dealing with the natural world.
We're talking about, you said this goes right back to the 1st century, so...
Yeah. Talking way before, Christianity, even any kind of religion, really set foot in the UK. It was still a long way before it came established. So we're talking the original. We're talking really primitive brains.
Yeah.
Before they got even more primitive with Christianity hit and other religions.
And putting a toad in an anthill.
Yeah, I mean, I have the occasional anthill in the garden here when I forget to mow the lawn for like a month. And I don't have any toads, but I got a rat underneath the waterfall.
Put the rat in it. See what animals you can control with it.
Yeah. It is weird. It is a very strange. I mean, yes, I can see why this is a fascinating one, being from that part of the world. But I just don't see how ever anyone could have said, "I'm going to kill a toad. I can now talk to horses."
Well, I think
that link is just so strange, and it's how did it even happen?
Well, as I said, I can totally imagine that this is more along the lines of, it makes you think of ancient Egypt and the original Egyptian gods before, Tutankhamun standardized all the religion in Egypt, where the original gods were people in the local area. So if you happen to grow amazing crops, suddenly you're a god of agriculture. If you happen to have water from somewhere because you've figured out that if you dig a well, you can find water, you are some sort of god of water. And that's how original ancient Egyptian religions are. So I wonder if it has links to that, where these people just happen to be good at taming horses, and then they wanted an explanation for it, and that was the explanation they came up with.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, even in my day-to-day job of fixing computers, which, well, at least it was until recently, some people just don't understand how you could just walk to a computer and it starts working.
Yeah.
Whereas they walk to a computer and break it. And you could say anything to them. You could say, yeah, oh, it's magnetism. It's, you've got something about you. You can make up anything if they don't understand how. A lot of people see, for example, computers as being witchcraft in itself. And it's surprising there are people who work with computers every day who are so scared of them. It feels like witchcraft to them when you can fix it. You can fix anything. And you literally could tell them anything.
Yeah.
You could literally tell them, I'm positively charged with electrons today, and for some reason it's working. They would believe it.
They would.
And it's just because they're so scared of and have no real answer to anything, and they don't understand things and they don't want to understand things in a proper way. I can see how just somebody who's good with horses can just as a joke say, I buried a toad in an anthill, then I put its bones in a stream and chased it, caught it before the devil, and now I'm top dog with the horses.
Yeah.
And rather than just the fact I gave it a sugar lump.
Yes.
Yeah,
which
much funnier to say you killed a toad, you had it bone stripped by an ant, you stick the bones in the water, you caught it before the devil, now I'm in charge. Not I gave it a sugar lump or two and it's happy with me now.
Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah.
And this is what I love about these, and this is what I loved about doing this podcast. It's these stories. They're brilliant, brilliant stories.
They are brilliant stories because, I mean, I would never even have... I mean, if you had... Like I said, you said about we're going to do Toadmen. I thought Marvel. There's got to be a super villain somewhere called Toadman or something. Is that what we're talking about today? I never imagined it would be this.
No, well, there we go. And that's the story of the Toadmen.
Yeah. And as far as debunking or confirming it, can't do either because as far as I know, there are no Toadmen around anymore.
No.
And that's the other thing. Is this just legend or did this really happen?
Well, there are lots of reports of it happening across the fens. There are lots of reports and there's quite a lot of older bits of writing about it and lots of stories around this. But I personally would say exactly like you said, it's just somebody going, yeah, this is what I did, because it's a bit of a laugh. And so it did happen. Whether they actually did the whole thing with the toads or not, they probably didn't. It was probably a case of they were trying to figure out and get to the bottom of why these people did it. However, they were named as Toadmen. There are farmhands, were farmhands that were called Toadmen.
They're just obviously very good with horses, and it's just like... And that's the other thing, I guess. If there's a reason... A lot of people don't want to think that they're just not good at something, and somebody might be better. There has to be a reason for it.
Yes.
So let's make it witchcraft.
Yeah.
It's witchcraft. No, you're just naturally good with animals. And you can be naturally good with animals.
You can.
I mean, I like to say that the family here are very good, for example, with dogs.
Yes.
There's not a single dog that we've met who, no matter how crazy they are, who doesn't like us. And I think it's down to temperament. It's down to... There's so many different things it can come down to. The fact that we're really quite calm and, good-natured and and every dog loves us. So some people might wonder how. I mean, I've heard people say, we went to dog sit with some friends. I went to actually Sandy dog sit afterwards. My wife dog sit and they dogs love her. But we went round to watch something, have some dinner. And they got these two dogs who don't like anybody. And they just sit staring and growling at them. They sat in our laps and fell asleep. And the owners could not understand how these two dogs who hate everybody apart from them sat on us and fell asleep.
Yeah.
It's just one of the things. And it wasn't witchcraft. I did not have to kill a single animal for that.
Yes, but you did find out that your name has links to Toadmen. So you are a Toadman.
I did also have peanut butter down my trousers, which is why they had the head there when they fell asleep.
Yeah, funny enough, that's how we became friends.
Yeah, luckily it is lumpy, chunky peanut butter. Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, a strange story. Again, one we can't deny. We can, as far as I can tell, it's just somebody was good with horses and just for a laugh said, killed a toad.
Yeah. Got
the ants to strip it off. Went and put the bones in the water, beat the devil to it. Now I'm in charge. I think it was just a joke. I can't see any sign. Well, there's no scientific or even witchcraft. If it was witchcraft and it worked like that, why is it not still now? Why is it not science now? If it works that well, how come it's not science?
Because animal cruelty.
Doesn't matter. People cruel to animals all the time. Science naturally is cruel to animals. That wouldn't have stopped.
Maybe we need to find some scientists that have toads.
Why scientists? Let's go down the stream. Right, we're going to call this one off. I'm going to go down the stream. We're going to find a toad. Dan's going to find some anthills. And then we're going to try to find some horses to worry. And we'll come back another date to tell you whether we've been kicked in the teeth.
Or whether the devil got us and we couldn't make the bargain with the devil.
To be honest, I think he got us a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey.
But then the best bit is that story that I found of the notable Toadman of Elijah.
Elijah. I mean, for a start, that's a great name.
Yeah. A biblical name.
Biblical name. Yeah. Toads, Elijah, and just pure insanity. Yeah. I don't know where we can end with this one. It's just, there's no way we can bring this one to an end. I think we've just got to keep this one going forever.
Yeah, this is it. Boo-Foons are now just obsessed with Toadmen.
Toadmen.
Yeah.
I think we're just going to change the name of the YouTube just to Toadmen of Tinseltown.
Yes.
Hell Comes to Toadmen.
Yeah.
It's a film, Hell Comes to Toadtown. Have you ever seen that?
Is it about people controlling horses?
No, but it's about Toadmen and Hell Comes to Toadtown. It's got Rowdy Roddy Piper in
it. Wow.
Yeah, I know. Classic.
I should probably go and watch that.
Yeah.
So, yes, that is the story of the Fenland Toadmen and a notable story of Elijah and his argument with a farmer. So, yes, Thank you for listening to that. And do you have any stories out there about witchcraft at all? If so, get in touch with us. Let us know about witchcraft. Also, do you know any Toadmen? If you know a Toadman, let us know. It'd be great to talk to a Toadman.
Or if you find a fingernail, Elijah's looking for one.
Yeah, specifically around the Chatteris area.
I thought around the finger area.
Yeah.
Last thing you want to have your Chatteris drop off.
Oh, well.
We've run out of steam there. I think
we have run out of steam. So thank you for listening to us rambling on about the Fenland Toadmen. We're the Boo-Foons.
Oh, God, yeah.
The good old mystery investigators. And there's a mystery there.
There is a huge mystery there.
And the investigation should be looking for fingernails.
Fingernails, yeah. Sorry, Elijah. If I find it, I'm keeping it. Finders keepers, possession's 9/10 of the law.
Well, at least he found his arm.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, that's the big part.
Yeah.
As long as you got your right arm and your hand. Was it right arm or left arm you lost?
The story didn't specifically say. And also, actually...
It's very important if it's a right or left arm. It makes a huge difference to your life.
And, well, the other thing about this whole ghost story is, does that mean that every single person that's ever had a body part chopped off are a ghost now?
God, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Because they're not with their full body.
If you're an amputee, please get in touch. We would love to find out what's going to happen after you die. Maybe we can arrange something. Come back and visit us.
Yeah, and you can talk to the mystery investigators through clairvoyancy somehow. We'll sort it out.
We'll sort it out. I'm going to rub my crystal balls, and we'll get there.
Yeah. So, thank you for listening today. As always, we're the Boo-Foons. Join us in the next episode. Take care.
Goodbye. Fingernails. What a stupid story.
The Boo-Foons Mystery Investigators. They don't always get it right, but they always get it weird.